Welcome, listener. Tonight, we step into a place where time doesn't always behave the way it should. A place where history presses so close to the surface, you can almost feel it breathe. This is the true account of what happened to two women, scholars, skeptics, travelers, when they wandered into the gardens of Versailles and walked straight into the past. Let us begin. It was August 10th, 1901. Hot, heavy air. The kind that presses down on your shoulders as you walk. Charlotte Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, two academics from Oxford, were visiting the Palace of Versailles in France. They weren't thrill seekers. They weren't ghost hunters. Just two learned women interested in history. They'd planned to visit the Petit Trianon, a smaller chateau on the palace grounds, once gifted to Marie Antoinette herself. But something went wrong. Or perhaps something went strangely right. They took a path through the gardens, and what they found there was nothing like the Versailles they knew. They said the air changed. Suddenly, everything felt off. The gardens grew quiet. Too quiet. The birds had stopped singing. Even the sunlight seemed dimmer. As they walked, they saw people, but not like the other tourists. A man in a long coat and tricorn hat, his face pale, unmoving. Two workers in strange cloaks, carrying tools that didn't belong to the 20th century. One of the women described a sudden chill, a heaviness, as though they'd stepped into the aftermath of something terrible and weren't supposed to be there. Then, near the edge of a small lawn, they saw a woman seated on the grass, sketching. She wore a large straw hat with flowing ribbons, a powdered face, an 18th century dress. She looked up, just once. The moment passed, and then everything shifted back. Tourists appeared again. The gardens returned to normal. Time moved forward as if nothing had happened. But for them, everything had changed. When they returned to Oxford, they couldn't stop thinking about it. They wrote separate accounts, compared notes, and what they found was unsettling. They had both seen the same people, heard the same silence, felt the same pull. And over the next few years, they dug deeper into the history, into clothing, garden layouts, structures that had once stood. And their memories matched records they shouldn't have had access to. Structures long gone, people who had once lived and died on those very paths, including one woman in particular, Marie Antoinette. On the very day the women believed they saw her, she had been sketching in the garden, just before learning the palace would be stormed by revolutionaries. That moment, that exact moment, may have been the last piece she ever knew. So what do you think really happened to Moberly and Jourdain? Over the years, many theories have surfaced. Some say it was a time slip, a momentary fold in reality that allowed two people to walk into the past without meaning to. Others believe it was a residual haunting, a psychic imprint left behind by trauma, like a film projected in a loop, only visible to those sensitive enough to see it. And then there are the skeptics. They say it was fantasy, delusion, a shared hallucination brought on by heat, expectation, or the imagination of two women who loved history a little too much. But their accounts remain consistent, detailed, emotionally grounded. They didn't seek fame or money. They even published their book, An Adventure, under pseudonyms. And until the day they died, they stood by every word. More than a century has passed. And still, no one can explain what happened in that garden. But across the world, there are other stories, other slips, other people who claim, for just a moment, they weren't here anymore, but somewhere else. A different year. A different version of the world. A place where time runs in circles or folds like cloth. And that's the thing about Versailles. It's not just a palace, not just history carved in stone. It's a place where the past still lingers, soft as a breath, sharp as a whisper. So if you've ever found yourself somewhere that didn't feel quite real, a hallway that seemed older than it should be, a face that looked out of place, a moment that didn't match the time, tell us. Your story might be closer to this one than you think. Drop it in the comments or reach out to us directly. We're always listening. And if these kinds of stories speak to you, if the strange and the paranormal tug at something deep inside, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next time the veil thins. Until next time.
Stay spooky.